Spoiler warning! Spoiler warning! Spoiler warning! Welcome back everyone, it's time to go balls deep into Jujutsu Kaisen. And yes, we are finally doing JJK weekly chapter reviews. I know, all of you anime watchers probably about now are shouting, no, don't go spoiling this too. Listen guys, we will continue making all sorts of JJK content for you guys as well. Also, I'll 100% make sure to add a spoiler warning on the start of each of these videos. Most importantly, we are doing this for the JJK community. Like Boruto, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, we believe JJK has a potential and is worthy to be on the top. So by supporting us doing more JJK content, you guys will effectively be supporting this great series. And on that note, I want to shout out Dancho's Hideout, who's very well versed in the JJK universe, for being part of our team and will also be part of a JJK series in the future. So make sure you go check him out. Lastly, I want to thank all of you guys in the ABD community for supporting us so far. With starting new series like this, it ain't easy, but with your constant support, it gives us motivation. Who knows, we might jump on One Piece once again in the future, as it's still one of my top animes of all time.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
Shut your stupid.
But doing these different content is all dependent on you guys in the community. So please show us your love and support by smashing the like button. Okay, so before we get into chapter 140, let me give you guys a quick background on what's happening. The Shibuya incident, which was a few chapters back, has caused widespread damage in Tokyo. Curses has begun to run rampant from despair. The plan of Brain-kun, who controls Geto's body to create a golden age of curse techniques, has gone unmentioned by the elders of the Jujutsu High. Instead, the higher ups corruptly deemed Gojo a criminal, and releasing him from his box, the prison realm, is a crime. To top it off, Principal Yaga and Yuji are up for execution. Yuta Okkotsu, the protagonist of the Jujutsu Kaisen Prequel, aka Volume 0, has also now been set as Yuji's executioner. Yuta actually is taking this task very personally, as he's upset due to being informed that Yuji is the reason that Inumaki has lost his arm. With everything in dismay, our boy Yuji has been running around Tokyo killing curses since Brain-kun's escape. On the other hand, Naobito Zenin has been pronounced dead. Ain't dead. My man just been in few chapters, now he's gone. But he didn't leave just peacefully. His will is causing an uproar in his clan, as he stated in his will that his son Naoya Zenin will be the head and handle all duties if Zenichi and Ogi Zenin agree. However, due to a past agreement with Toji Fushiguro that if Satoru Gojo was to die or be mentally incapacitated, then Megumi Fushiguro will be brought into the Zenin clan and then will be the new head. So yes guys, our dark-haired friend is leveling up in the world, potentially becoming the next head of one of the strongest clan in this series. Let's not forget that he is the only one in their family to have the OP inherited 10 shadow curse technique, although I'm not sure if he will personally be interested in taking up this role. However, he might be forced to do so he can help his friend Yuji later on. However, due to this, Naoya Zenin, feeling threatened about this possibility, sets off towards Yuji so he can kill Megumi because he hears that he's also looking for him. Coincidentally, Yuta also makes his appearance. With that, chapter 140 starts off with a cover page of Yuta Okkotsu holding his katana unsheathed, sitting at that rooftop we saw him on earlier in the last chapter. With their first interaction, Itadori asks him, "Who are you?" And Choso, who is side by side with our boy, thinks whoever he is, his motivation is clear. Choso being more experienced, you know, this guy after all was created 150 years ago, his battle intuition seems to be on a higher level. Yuta, making his entrance, jumps from his location onto a railing in front of Naoya, Choso and Yuji. But as he lands, he crushes and creates a giant hole in the wall holding the rails. Right off the bat, this showcases Yuta's overwhelming power. At a first glance, it may seem that Yuta has a lot of physical prowess, similar to that of Dodo or Itadori. However, later it is explained that this is not the case. But I'll get to that in a bit, so make sure you guys stick around till the end of this video, where I'll break down Yuta's strength in a bit more detail. detail. Now, Yuta insane energy sends Chill to the free while he asks who is with Yuji Itadori. Choso then states out loud that Yuta must be Yuji's executioner, which then Naoya interjects to assure Yuta that he is on his side. After Naoya calls Yuta by his last name, Yuji recollects that Megumi mentioned Yuta before, remembering he is special grade like Gojo. Naoya, seemingly to get on Yuta's good side, specifically tells him that he is Maki's cousin. More than likely he knows that they were teammates so he can win him some favor. It is interesting though that Yuta didn't see that this is a bad thing, considering Maki's goal is to take over the Zenin clan and she doesn't really like any of her family. Either way, during their interaction, Choso, using his high level battle IQ, makes a note that Naoya's ability is speed related, making him bad to run away from. He also compares Yuta to Gojo, saying that fighting him means dying. Yuta is like a Grim Reaper on the battlefield, taking out anyone he needs to, and it's a guaranteed death. During his consolation, Choso gives us the impression that he will more than likely die against Naoya, but reassures Itadori by telling him that they are only after him, so it should be okay. But coming back to their discussion, Naoya continues his proposition, asking Yuta if he can refrain from telling his superiors about killing Yuji so he can still use him as a bait for someone he wants to meet. Naoya thinks to himself that he regrets ever bringing up Megumi earlier because he's scared on how Yuta could have reacted. Now remember guys, we don't know the relationship between Yuta and Megumi. They definitely must have met before, as it was mentioned in an interview by Oktomi that Megumi respects Yuta due to the way he speaks and his overwhelming strength. Regardless, Naoya's slick words work in his favor as Yuta agrees, telling him to handle Choso while he goes after Itadori. This is where the fight begins. Naoya goes directly for Choso, stopping him from converging piercing blood, and Yuta goes out straight for Itadori, who gets away just in the nick of time before Yuta gets to him. Both Yuta and Itadori thinks about how the other is extremely faster than they expected. Whilst this is happening, Naoya and Choso have a small scuffle where Naoya seems to be the one on top. Naoya then states that Choso's ability is blood manipulation, acknowledging the oddness of him having the Kamo clan's ability, but he calls it a non-frightening one, other than the piercing blood attack. Naoya says this is how Choso will die, but then Choso responds saying, "No, I'm warning you. Do you think you can leave here alive after trying to hurt my little brother?" Now we already covered our opinion in our last video on Yuji having a brother effect on those he combats to death with. However, there might be more to this, especially after the recent interview with Oktomi. But we will cover all our thoughts on this interview in another video, so make sure you guys have the notification bell dinged so you can be on the same page as everyone in the community. Coming back to the fight, a point to note is that Naoya Zenin has a completely disrespected the Kamo clan family technique without even trying to. Blood manipulation is a very versatile technique if used in the right ways, and Choso is the main example of that. However, with that said, Choso could possibly have met his match. Not only is Naoya fast, but he seems very intelligent. Naoya is officially labeled a Supreme Grade 1 sorcerer. It will be interesting to see how Choso will hold up against him. In comparison, Naobito Zenin was a Supreme Grade sorcerer as well, and his strength overwhelmed the Supreme Grade curse Dagon. Well, that was until he opened his domain. But you guys get my point, right? Although experience does speak for a lot, however, against Choso, he not only has his most powerful Kamo technique memorized, piercing blood, but is also fast enough to stop its convergence. Even if Choso uses flowing red scale, will it match Naoya's speed technique? Naoya's technique seems to move him to places instantly, and he was able to land blows on Choso's face in close combat without even taking damage. Hopefully soon we will get the technique revealed for Naoya. He seemed to be an obnoxious, powerful brat, to be honest, so Choso however seems to be determined to kill Naoya himself and may find a way to withstand his assault. Let's not forget Choso's body has good durability, being able to protect his ribs against Yuji's blow using hardened blood, so there's a good chance he can take a few blows to find a win, unless Naoya's true raw strength is being hidden, which is very likely if he was considered to be the head of the Zenin clan. From Choso's defense, we switch to Yuta's chase on Yuji, and I want to start off by pointing out that Itadori in no way is weak. Running from Yuta was actually a tactical decision. Itadori went head to toe with the likes of Mahito and other special grade curse spirits, but Yuta, giving off this curse energy he has, lets us the readers know that even Yuji understands this dude is really on Gojo's level, or at least near it. Now, as Itadori rushes towards a lopsided car, jumping over it, you know our boy is a parkour genius, but it doesn't help him much as Yuta just goes around the car quick enough to land a direct slash on Yuji. But Yuji ultra instincts it and dodges, even impressing Yuta, who comments that he's much like Maki, referring to her insane agility. Regardless, Yuta is still able to easily pressure Itadori, in effect pushing our boy to retaliate with force. Knowing he can't outpace Yuta, Itadori punches the car right at him like a goddamn Hulk, believing it will distract him, giving him enough time to escape inside the building to get away. But somehow, within a mere second, Yuta throws the car back over Yuji's head, destroying the entrance to the building he was running to. This guy legitly just threw a car, probably weighs around 4,000 pounds, like it's a literal baseball or something. From the earlier scene of Yuta decimating a concrete wall by just landing on it, should have given Itadori an idea that he can't play that shit. But you know, our boy gotta try. In spite of this, Yuta then asks Itadori if he was surprised by his power, because he doesn't look like the power type. This is when Yuta clarifies that he is actually on the weak side. Behind those clothes, his body is probably all bones and no muscle. Allow me, bro, that was me back in the days. But listen, Yuta ain't nothing like Todo or Itadori. Itadori realizes that Yuta in fact has an immense amount of cursed energy and concludes that he's enforcing his physical strength with his cursed energy, making up for the lack of power and strength. Even though all sorcerers do this on a small scale, Yuta is on a different level. With just his cursed energy alone, Yuta is able to push and destroy anything around him. It gives off an appearance that is due to a physical trait, when in reality, it's all supernatural. But let's be real here, Itadori's physical strength is most definitely not normal as well, and could be considered supernatural too. Either way, Itadori with this information lets Yuta know that you're the exact opposite of me. This is when Yuta reveals, responding to Itadori, "You noticed, huh? I got more cursed energy than Gojo sensei," which is actually an insane thing to comprehend. Gojo is the pinnacle of a sorcerer. Being above him in anything seems ridiculous. Even Itadori is left speechless. Yuta then explains that Gojo has the 6 eyes, so the curse energy that is generally lost when a technique is activated goes infinitesimally close to 0, which keeps his energy constantly recycling, aka infinite. Yuta then says Gojo sensei is really the best because even though he himself has an incredible amount of curse energy, he still ends up running out of it due to its high expenditure. But coming back to the fight, Yuta says he's done talking and goes in for another attack. As they clash, the struggling Yuji has a flashback of Todo explaining how the flow of an elite sorcerer is difficult to read, so it makes it harder to tell where they are putting the cursed energy in their attack until it's executed. However, in this fight against Yuta, this is even harder because Yuta's whole body and katana is covered in cursed energy. Energy isn't being directed in one specific point, rather it's encompassing everything around Yuta, so predicting his attack by sensing the cursed energy output is more or less impossible. In effect, Yuta's every attack can be decisive while restricting himself from damage. This matchup seems too early for our boy Yuji, but as he fights on, the words "you got it from here" pops up into his head, thinking back to Nanami's final words. Even in this predicament, Itadori won't give up as he tells Yuta, "Sorry, but I can't die just yet." Now from this chapter, we learned that Yuta, even without releasing Rika, is a super formidable, and this is where the chapter ends. Now overall from this chapter we learned that Yuta, even without releasing Rika, is super formidable. After the prequel, we weren't too sure if he was going to be a special grade due to the impression that Rika was free, but in the most recent interview with Akutami, he was asked, did Yuta remain a special grade sorcerer even after Rika was dispelled? Where Akutami sensei responded saying he became a grade 4, that's why his uniform was black at the end of volume 0, white is for problem children to make it easier to spot them. Then Yuta returned to special grade, meaning somewhere along the year Rika either came back or he learnt another technique or control over his own cursed energy along with another cursed spirit, giving it the name Rika as we saw in the previous chapter. But we can't know for sure. Regardless, Itadori at the moment actually winning against Yuta is out of the question. I'm thinking in the next few chapters Megumi will make his entrance defending his friend. It's also possible that behind the scene there will be a resistance team against the JJK higher up, fighting against the decision to execute Principal Yaga and Itadori. Yuta might end up being convinced to spare his life after interacting with his classmates. I'm sure if Inumaki, Panda and even Megumi doesn't want Itadori dead, they might end up stopping Yuta, then things might look a bit brighter for our protagonist. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Let me know what you guys thought on Yuta's OP reintroduction. Do you guys think he'll end up being friends with Yuji? And does Yuta have an ulterior motive, secretly wanting to fight against the higher up helps as well, let me know in the comment section down below. Also remember to smash the like button so we know you want us to continue doing JJK chapter reviews. Subscribe if you haven't, ding that notification bell. With that guys, I'll catch you till next time.